What's the biggest mistake that you think people make in relationships?
One of them is thinking that the things that your partner is and does that are wonderful are normal by the time you have been experiencing them for a long time.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
The things that your partner does that are actually wonderful, the things that they do that are their special qualities, the things that make your life better, more joyful, more magical, easier, the things that support you, all those little things that are magic, you start to think those are just normal things that are to be expected or that anyone would do in a relationship because you've had so much distance from any other relationship that your memory now has nothing to compare it to. People have a rude awakening very often when they go and date someone else and they realize all the things that were wonderful about their partner were not normal. They were wonderful things about their partner. We do that in all of life. Human beings, in some ways, one of our greatest traits is that we're able to normalize things.
Yeah.
Like, we can go as an entire world during a pandemic. We can normalize radically new conditions in ways that are truly inspirational. But it actually gets mutated into a very bad effect sometimes in relationships and in other areas of life where that normalization of what is wonderful can make us think that it's normal.
I freaking love that you went here because I think what we do when we seek relationship advice is we're so focused on what's wrong with this person, why did it go cold, how come we've grown distant, and what you're saying is one of the big mistakes that we actually make is we lose sight of the fact that there's so many things that are going right and you take it for granted. Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Look at anyone who flies in a fancy seat on the plane.
Yeah.
If they do it for long enough, they don't even think it's a fancy seat anymore. They'll find a new complaint with that.
I keep thinking about the fact that, yeah, if you've ever been upgraded and you sit up front, it is like going to Disney World.
You won't go to sleep because you're like, I have to enjoy all of this. I have to try the little hand cream and I have to do I have to brush my teeth with the airplane toothbrush. You can't sleep. It's so exciting.
Yes.
And people do that with partners. It's you may have someone who has truly extraordinary things. You just don't know they're extraordinary anymore because it's your life.
Whoa.
I think we can start to think we know everything there is to know about our partner. That there is nothing new going on in that head of theirs. We know it all. And we certainly don't know it all. We only know what they're telling us, and usually what they're telling us is a reflection of the kinds of questions we're asking them, and we might have stopped asking them questions 10 years ago because we assume we know it all. But we may know them from 10 years ago. We don't necessarily know them today if we don't ask the right questions. And so I'm constantly thinking, I don't think there's any one answer for this. And it's certainly not a tip from Cosmopolitan about a new toy for the bedroom. That's the thing that's going to change the whole game. It's what, how do you start to stand back from your partner and see them as an enigma again? That to me is one of the most beautiful things you can do. Proust said the journey of discovery lies not in seeking new landscapes, but in seeing with new eyes. And if you think about it, when someone has an affair, they're seeking a new landscape, right? But when you can start to see your partner with newness, you're seeing them with new eyes. If you can bring newness, you're giving them a chance to see you with new eyes. The question becomes, what are some of the ways you can do that? And the beautiful part is there's not one answer to that. It can be organic to you and the ways you can create newness for yourself and your relationship.
How do you change it?
I think you have to keep growing. I really believe that you have to find ways to make life fresh to you so that you can stay fresh for your partner. The more you read, the more you engage in a new activity or a new hobby or something that inspires you. I could at this point, after I've been coaching people in their love lives for 17 years, I could say, I know enough to just now do this for the rest of my life without learning another thing. And that might be true, but it would become stale for me, and then I would become stale for my audience. the thing that keeps me fresh for other people is that I stay fresh for myself. I do the reading and I look at what's going on and I have conversations with people. And so then I come back with an idea that feels new. It may be something I've said 1,000 times, but the way I just thought about it because of the thing that I just read, it feels new to me. And if it feels new to me, I'm going to convey that in a way that's fresh to you. And I think in our relationships, because we stop growing in our lives and because we stop doing things that keep life fresh for us, we now bring a very stagnant, staid version of ourselves to the relationship. We have nothing new to bring to the conversation at dinner because when was the last time we got a brand new idea or we read something or engaged with something that made us think differently?
One of my big takeaways already, and maybe it's age because I'm 55 years old and you're younger than me, and you asked this question about what have you done lately to grow? And I certainly grew up in a generation where it was all about finding somebody. And so much of it was about the search out there. And what do I need to do to attract that person, to find that person? The presumption being that that person out there is somehow going to come back over here and make my life more interesting, my life more amazing. And I think I've already just had this aha for every one of you listening and for all of the people that you love that you're going to send this to, that the single most important thing, whether you're single and you're listening to this or you are in a relationship and you want to make it better, is that it begins with you understanding what you're bringing to the table and you looking at your own growth and what you're bringing either to your life as a single person or to the relationship as a person in a committed relationship. Is that a fair takeaway?
It's everything. It's everything. I don't want to jump too far ahead of ourselves when I say this, but when you say that, what it brings up for me is when we feel like we're not interesting, when we have the insecurity of someone who feels like they're not enough, they're not cool, they haven't got a great life, they're not an interesting person, we go looking for that person who has those attributes. And so what we do now is we go into our love lives driven by ego. Not the ego of I'm so great, but the ego of I'm not great, I'm not enough. So I need to find someone who's going to make me feel that way. And we often end up looking for these very superficial markers of someone else's impressiveness, what makes them great. When you truly feel like you're enough, you don't actually feel the need to go in search of those kind of egoic things. You know, you're not, let's say, worried that is this person I'm bringing home someone that is going to impress my friends? Are they going to look good on my arm?
Right.
Are they going to look good on Instagram? Are they like, you don't care about that. You care, do they make me happy? You start focusing on how they make you feel, not how they make you look. And that's a huge distinction because so many people go out into their love lives worrying about how someone's going to make them look. And that's all driven by ego because we don't feel like we're enough. It's no different to the playground at school. If you didn't think you were cool, the last person you wanted to be seen with was another person who was uncool.
That's true.
You were like, if I hang around you, I'm going to get found out.
Yes, we're both screwed.
Yeah. So I need to hang around with people that I can disguise myself from, and other people might, by association, think I'm cool too. So again, at school, we looked for all these silly, superficial markers of popularity, status, looks, what they were captain of this or whatever it may be, so that we could feel by association like we were somebody. Now, if you just carry that forward, as many people do into their love lives, you keep looking for all of those superficial markers that are going to, by association, make you look like the person you've always wanted to look like. When you work on yourself, it's a very freeing thing. Because I'm not looking for you to be a certain kind of good looking or a certain kind of height or figure or this or that or money or status or lifestyle or whatever. I don't care about you being any of those things. I've got me.
Right.
Like I already feel good enough. So I don't need you for those things. What I want is someone I have an extraordinary time with. What I want someone is someone who sees me. What I want someone is someone I feel at home with. Those are the things that we start looking for. It's a very different thing we look for when we feel like we're already taken care of.
Well, what I love that you said, and I want to take a giant highlighter and make sure that as you're listening to this, that you got this, which is too many of us are obsessed with what does the person make me look like? And so if I'm with this person, what does it look like? Versus how does this person make me feel? And so that's another takeaway in terms of the mistakes that we're making.
And here's something I think a lot of people will relate to. I always think about, this is maybe a crude analogy, but I always think I am the house that I live in.
Okay.
When I go to a hotel, if it's a fancy, lovely hotel, I love the room, oh my God, I love the view, I never think of it as my status or my value or my anything. I'm like, I'm renting this room for a night.
Right.
This doesn't belong to me.
Yep.
It's not my hotel.
Are we about to talk about one night stands? Is that where we're going
No,
right now?
but-
Okay, well, you
no,
said
no.
renting for a night. I'm like, what's happening, Matthew?
But I think of it as, this is like, I'm just going to experience this and enjoy it for what it is.
Got it.
But I can't take it home with me. It's not mine. My home is my home. Where I go back to every night,
Yes.
that's my home. The picture that I hang on mine and my wife's wall, that is a beautiful picture, that actually that affects my life every single day.
Yes.
The hotel that I stay in is irrelevant. It's just a nice experience. And I think we have to some extent, start seeing when we're with someone that we think is really impressive or has amazing traits, is very charismatic, is sexy, is all of these things that we get drawn to, that this is not our value. It's something we're enjoying. It's something we're experiencing, but we are the home that we go back to every night. The work we do on ourselves, the work we do to make ourselves a resilient person in this life, a wise person in this life, a person who's giving in this life, who has connections and love, that's our home. It's not the value that this person brings us. There are so many people in relationships that when they lose the person, they think they've lost their value because they started to think that my value is this value on the outside. And I don't think you can ever get the two confused. Dating culture today for so many people sucks. And it is hard to find love. It's the one area where we feel like we're out of control.
How do you change it?